1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air. And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. You're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen, Blue Island, Beverly, Payless, and Allsup too. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oakland, Midlothian,
Southside Pod!
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod.
A lot of theories right now.
Oh, really?
With this whole UFO thing. With the UFOs flying around. Some people believe that they're in the Antarctic and the Arctic, on the poles and things like that.
UFOs
There's
are
a secret society that has spacecraft. Now, you are my most cynical friend.
Yeah.
And you constantly just say BS to everything.
No, at some point I say I believe everything.
Okay.
Because how
so
far
you believe in this.
Think about 100 years ago.
Okay.
Technology-wise, and where we are today.
Or technology-wise.
Technology.
Technology.
Are you talking about technology?
Okay.
I'm talking about technology.
It's
a different thing.
Okay.
But think about it. Not your way, my way.
Okay, I'll think about it your way. What am I supposed to be thinking about?
Think about it technology.
Extra L.
No.
Extra L.
No, okay, fine.
All right.
Fine. Keep going with your point. Is there a point?
Yes.
Okay.
How far we've come in the last 100 years.
Very far.
And if you said anything 50 years ago about what we have today, people would be like, no way.
Are you kidding me?
Come on.
We still don't have flying cars.
50 years ago, they had the Jetsons. There were flying cars.
Where's
There
our
were
flying
robots.
cars?
There's flying cars. There's
walking around in
jetpacks.
Miami.
People are like, where's my jetpack?
Right.
There's jetpack. There's flying cars.
I don't have one. Nobody has a
There
flying
are flying cars.
Who has a flying car?
Look it up.
I mean, there are robots.
Look it up.
Look it up.
I'm sorry. Have we reached the point of the night that when you're hit with something where you're clearly wrong,
There are flying
your
cars.
response is look it up?
There are flying cars.
Just Google it.
They're
Who do
not.
you know?
They're
Who
not
do you know
like
with a
You
flying
did a
car?
lot of research on this.
Nobody.
On
Who
the
do you know with a
internet?
flying
Are we
car?
talking about if they exist or if they mainstream? What do you want to know? It's not out of the realm of possibilities that
With
there's
the
other
exception
life
of a
forms.
prototype, do people own flying cars?
No.
Okay.
What
Your
were
point.
we talking about?
We were talking about the
UFOs.
possibility of aliens and UFOs and the NAR.
Possibility of anything as
Do you buy the
unlimited.
UFO stuff?
Sure.
You believe it? If
Not-
I asked you right now,
Not necessarily. I don't believe in it, but I believe that it's a possibility.
okay. So here's the thing, because my kids have asked me this: do you think that there's aliens? And I've said I think it's far more possible that the UFOs are something that just our government or another government doesn't want to tell you about.
I agree.
Or worst case scenario, there's just a completely different civilization that we haven't found because we've only explored like 10% of the oceans and we don't even look at the Arctic. Right? But there's no way, looking at how far away all these planets are, that anything came from any of them to us. Like, why would anything show up and then just spend like 50, 60 years messing with us after that long
I
journey? They
remember
wouldn't care.
1996 making a GeoCities internet account and seeing a moving dog walk across my internet page that I made, and I thought it was the most amazing thing that I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
When I saw a video on a computer screen in like 96 or 95, I was like, this is the future. This is crazy.
Right.
And now where are we?
We're podcasting. We're podcasting.
Anything
now.
is in the possibility, the
Right.
realm of possibility. I don't necessarily believe it, but I believe that there is a possibility of anything
Okay.
at this point.
What do you believe more? Little green men, or there's an explanation because it came from this earth?
Column B, Chris. Column B.
Thank you.
Column
Thank
B.
you. Why won't he say that? He's the most
Because-
cynical person I
because
know.
you're saying little
His
green
daughter
men.
walked into my house tonight and wanted to see a picture of Jesus on the wall, and he doesn't believe in that, but his daughter does.
But I believe there's a picture of him.
But he won't tell me
saw
he
it.
doesn't believe in little
I
green men.
saw it.
Like, what is more far-fetched? I would believe in Jesus more than I believe in
Jesus
little green
and little
men.
green men are on the same level for
No,
me. I'm
they're
not gonna lie. 100%.
There's a lot more stories about Jesus than there are about Little Green Men.
I don't know about that.
I mean, the Little Green Men stories, they're like the last 60, 70 years.
Yeah.
Jesus got like 2,000.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
It's the Southside Pod!
It's the Southside Pod!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
It's the Southside Pod!
It's the Southside Pod!
OMG!
OMG!
It's the SSP!
It's the SSP!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
It's the Southside Pod!
It's the Southside Pod. This episode of Southside Pod brought to you proudly by Family Waterproofing Solutions. You heard them at the beginning of the show. Our proud sponsors now have express service. Know what you want. See the cost of it right on the website. Order and schedule on-site immediately for quick service. They handle everything from bowing walls, window wells, sump pumps, gutter cleaning, yard draining systems, exterior wall sealing, anything to keep water out of your basement. Your basement's best defense is at familydry.com. We are headed to Blue Island later on in this show. Blue Island Beer Company is hosting a monthly event centered around cannabis. I am not a weed smoker. I'll be honest with you. Like a couple of times in college, I just didn't get it. And trust me, you're going to be able to tell that I am a square in that interview coming up. But first, joining me on the phone line right now, our good friend, a Southsider at heart who is now living out on the West Coast covering the movie industry and the entertainment industry. And it's an interesting time for Ben Belton and everybody out there. There's a strike going on. There's movies coming out, and it may be the end of superhero films. And I want him to get into that. How are you, Ben?
I'm doing good. Just got off the picket line, so I'm good.
Are you picketing?
Well, I have been to a few of them. So of course, you stand in support of these people. They're going through, a lot of them are going through significant financial, decline because of this. And also on top of that, like local businesses are really hurting.
It's the writers and the actors, right? Is that basically
Correct.
what we have? Okay,
Yep.
So I think a lot of people sit there and say, okay, writers, I get it. Most of them aren't making a lot of money. Actors make tons of money, but it's not really the majority of them. It's just the big names that make the tons of money, and everybody else is just making a living. I have a cousin that he's married, well, his wife as well. They're both in the movie industry. But I also know that he's explained to me, like, okay, you get paid for the time you're there. Then you're on the unemployment line till the next gig. And like a movie ends and they're all standing there getting unemployment because they don't know when the next time they're going to get another job. So it's not what everybody thinks. Like when a movie makes $200 million, everybody in the credits didn't get that money. That's not how it works. So I get what's going on. What is the end game here, though?
Going into the strike for both the writers and the actors was the idea that you've got all this streaming that's coming out now. And a lot of those people were doing these projects and then they were not getting paid residuals on them. You find out about these series that are, like WandaVision did great, but are the people on the series or the writers or the people getting money for it? You'd have to ask them, but a lot of them are not. So ultimately, when they went into the strike, a lot of them were looking at how to get paid on those pieces. But then it became more about the AI because now you can generate an AI script. You can have an actor go in for a day's work. They can get an image of that person and they can utilize that person without, once they've signed off on it, they can utilize that person's likeness and they don't have to pay them for more work.
It's kind of like the Star Wars thing. Like it was really cool to have Carrie Fisher look like a young Princess Leia in Rogue One and bring back Luke during The Mandalorian. But now they've kind of figured out we can do this all the time. Like we can just put whoever we want to into something and not ask permission. So I get it. Here's the thing. I'm curious. You on the picket lines. What is the dynamic like between the actors and the writers? Because actors always come across very fake to me. Like I saw Bryan Cranston doing his labor speech, and it felt like he was just doing a character. Like I'm sure he cares, right? But he isn't poor. But he's up there and he's doing his thing and he's waving his hand and he's like hitting his mark. And like, I'm like, this is like a dialogue more than just like a speech by somebody who's in a union. So like, what is that like with the actors, especially the big name ones who are probably out there going, okay, this is great, but can somebody get me a soda?
Right. And the thing is the bigger names like him are coming out to bring some identity to all of this because who really is involved with these, if you drive by the studios and look at these strikes going on, you won't recognize most of the people on the line. You might recognize a few people here and there, but you are going to see occasionally a character actor off a TV series or something like that. But the big names are not really, because a lot of the big names are getting waivers and they're continuing to work on projects that got signed off on by SAG-AFTRA. So there's a lot of them that don't need to go out, but they're doing it because they realize that it's the people that have worked on their crews with them. It's the people that need their support to get the word out. And that's why you're seeing that. But I do think, Bryan Cranston and Fran Drescher have done a good job, I think, of putting a really good, realistic spin on or talking points about like what's really affecting these people.
Adam Driver was good. I saw that speech that he gave.
Yeah.
Because he was at a film festival and he said, I'm here at this festival because this studio agreed to everything.
Yep.
Like if we had everybody agreeing to what these people agreed to. So I'm going to go to their thing and they're still going to get my star power because they're agreeing to the thing. So we're not mad at them. And I think that that's also really interesting because what you might see is you might see a point where like the big names are like, well, I'll only work with these studios because they're the ones that have agreed, but I won't work with these other ones. And that might be what breaks it in the end, right?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of talk that it's basically a lost battle right now.
It looks like you think the studios have lost a battle.
I do, because the actors are not going to return. They can maybe get by without writers, but without actors, they can't really do anything.
I'm not paying $15.99 for Max, and I'm not paying whatever Disney's now hyping theirs up to and all this. If you're not going to be able to put out the stuff, like I only have Disney right now,
right,
so I can watch Ahsoka.
Yeah,
that's all I really care about. And like if a Marvel thing's coming out, like that's it. Like I don't even watch anything on Disney except the Star Wars stuff and the Marvel stuff.
Yep.
And some of the Marvel stuff has been terrible lately. So like when you get to a point where I'm like, well, there's not really anything for me to watch, I'm just going to turn off the stream and save a little bit of money. So I think you're right. I think that they're probably over a barrel. It's just a matter of time. Let's talk about Disney and the superhero and everything like that. I just watched The Flash, which is a DC thing, right? That movie sucked. Ben,
yep.
That movie was the suckiest
Wasn't the best
pile of suck that I've seen in a long time. I wanted so bad for it to be good because Michael Keaton was in there as Batman, and it still was just so utterly stupid. And the ending, it made no sense. It was just, they just wanted to fit one more thing in there and it made you say, wow. But the whole thing was dumb. And I felt like most superhero movies are dumb. Like I have not gotten into most of the things that have happened in Marvel in this phase. I like the latest Guardians of the Galaxy, but most of these movies have been terrible. I am not excited about the Marvels. I'm really not. I mean, I watched the Miss Marvel TV show. I gave it a chance, but I don't understand how it doesn't make sense to me. We're trying to pull too many things in and have too many properties, and they've lost sight of what they're doing to the point now where I just don't care. I mean, what the heck? The Secret Invasion thing with Samuel L. Jackson was terrible. I got to the end of it. I was like, so is the one character now the most powerful being in the universe? Like, what's the point of any more movies? Like, I don't know what they're doing anymore. They seem lost, and I don't want to spend any money at a theater. I'd rather just wait around till I can get it for free on a streaming service now and watch it there. Are they done? Are they dead?
Well, I think the problem is that there's really superhero fatigue. And it's been mentioned before. People have talked about it before. But even, you look at all the projects that have been moved back, and a lot of stuff's getting moved around because, like, for example, the Thunderbolts was supposed to come out very, very soon, and it's getting pushed back because they can't go into production yet, or the production was stopped due to the strikes. Then you have the Marvels coming out. It's been reshot, rescheduled about, 5 or 6 times now. And you've even got the director who came out recently in an interview and said, Nia DaCosta was like, well, these things kind of run themselves. And, us as directors, we put our spin on it, but really the story might turn out to be something that we hadn't planned. So you feel like it's become, to your point, a little bit of a machine. And what's unfortunate is a lot of the machine efforts used to work 2 or 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, certainly. They're not working now. We see films like, for example, Blue Beetle.
Oh my God, I thought that was a joke. I saw the Blue Beetle trailer and I laughed and I thought it was a joke. I was like, this isn't a real superhero. It's the kid from Karate Kid. Like, I'm not going and seeing this. Who greenlighted this movie? Like, I laughed at it. I was like, what are we doing now? Like, I mean, they're on the back rack at the comic book store at this point. Like, there's only like 5 nerds in their basement that know who half these characters are. Like, nobody wants to go see the Blue Beetle. Like, so, like, I'm serious. I'm gotten to a point now where unless it's like an established entity and I want to know the next chapter of their story, I'm not really that interested. Like, I was excited about Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and it was good. I was excited about The Flash because even though the DC stuff has been hit or miss, I wanted to see Michael Keaton as Batman, and it sucked. I mean, like, that's all I've got. And then most of them I'm just skipping these days.
Well, and think of it, if you're a DC fan, which a lot of people are, you just watched The Flash not do well. You've seen Blue Beetle not do well. You have Aquaman that's coming out in December, and not a lot of footage has been released, and Amber Heard is still involved with it, and she's very unpopular. And the reality is people are looking as consumers and are saying, like you are, do I want to spend the money to go to the theater to see this, or do I want to wait for it to come out on streaming?
Give me one movie before I let you go that people should go see. Either it's already out, it's on streaming, or it's coming very, very soon that Ben Belton's like, don't miss it.
Well, the one that I'm hearing a lot about around town, there's two, and they're coming later this year, is the Killers of the Flower Moon, which is the Leonardo DiCaprio film with Robert De Niro. It's being directed by Martin Scorsese and also being written by the guy who won the Academy Award for writing Forrest Gump.
Yeah, you got me at Scorsese and with DiCaprio, and I was like, oh, all right, that's probably something I'm going to end up having to watch. What's the other one?
As far as I'm hearing, the new Saw 10 is good. Now, don't quote me on that. But
Saw 10, go see. I'm like, give me the one movie to make sure you go see. You're like, Saw 10. They're gonna cut people up. They're gonna put people's heads in boxes, and people are gonna die. Chris, Saw 10.
I say that if you're a horror fan, the bulk of what's going to come out, and the other one I'm hearing a lot about is The Haunting of Venice, which is the Kenneth Branagh piece.
I want to see that because all those movies were good. Those are all off of the mystery novels. You don't realize that's a character with two movies already. You know, I want to say that I can't remember what they are now off the top of my head. They did the Orient Express.
Yeah.
And then they did
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile.
Was the other one. Yeah.
Right. And now this is the same character. And so this is like these are really good because they're steeped in classic books. And so because they're steeped in classic books and they have good actors, I don't miss those. I saw that one coming out and I was like, I'm definitely watching that one because I know it's going to be good. I know the story's going to be good and I know the actors are good. And I liked the other two movies, even though I knew the ending to Death on the Nile because I'd read the book. And so I was like, I even knew it was coming and I was like, this is still fun. This is still fun to watch.
I've known some people that have seen it. I have not. They said it's great. The critics' early reviews have been great. Now, getting back to Saw 10, it is the return. And I'm now full disclosure. I have not seen it. I'm just telling you what I've heard in the community.
Yeah.
In here in Hollywood, I'm telling you what I've heard. As supposedly they're saying it's going to rake in more than any of the recent ones because Kramer is returning for the first time since 2017, which is the villain played by Tobin Bell. And I actually met Tobin at a party, and it was actually kind of eerie looking at him and being like, oh, that's you're from Saw.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I don't want to talk to this guy too long. I'm going to wake up in a box. Like that's yeah. I'm be tied to an apparatus over a pit of spiders. Like I mean, like yeah, I would not want to talk to him. Like when he walks up and he's like, "Hey Ben, I got you a drink." Don't drink it, Ben.
Yeah, I'm not going to drink it. As nice as you might be, I'm not going to drink. It's the same way when I met Robert Englund. You can't not look at him and think you're looking at Freddy Krueger. But he's one of the nicest guys you could meet. I mean, couldn't be any cool. Like he was just the coolest guy.
The guy from Saw must have a very hard time getting a date. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like he picks up, he's like over there, he's talking to a young actress, she's looking at him, and all of a sudden she realizes he's the guy from Saw, and she's like, yep, I'm done. Like he must have a hard time. Like his first line must be, have you ever seen any scary movies? No, I never watch scary movies. Oh, thank you. Like, I mean,
thank you.
Like, he's really cut into the dating pool.
I have a friend that lived in the same building as him, and he would go sit down at the pool, and he said that people would actually run from him when they saw him and figured out who it was because they were afraid to be around him. And here's this guy who's like totally innocent, wouldn't hurt anybody, and he's like they're looking. It's just the image.
Probably the nicest guy. He's probably the nicest guy. Ben Belton, thanks for checking in with us, and we'll check out those movies. We'll watch The Strike. I just don't want to see my streaming service prices go up. That's the thing. You know, these actors and writers are going to win, and then they're going to tell me it's $40 for Disney, and I'll be like, I don't need to watch Ahsoka anymore. Like, that's what's going to happen at some point. Because then I got to go on strike to make enough money to pay for what you guys are making. It's a vicious circle, Ben.
Well, they're saying with AI, the next new thing is going to be that Chris Lanuti is going to be able to actually go in, program which actors and which storyline he wants, and that you're going to be able to get your own movie made specifically for you soon with AI.
I'm just waiting for AI to just take over my show, and then I don't have to do anything.
They would lack your unique perspective then.
I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. It is now time for your Southside Pod Bulletin Board, brought to you by the brand new Spoke and Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. Really good food, some shareable things, only 21 and over. Do not bring your children, and an amazing selection of wine. That's the thing you have to remember. This place is happening. Check them out tonight, 95th and Kedzie northeast corner. On Friday night, the Lyric Theater in Blue Island is doing the ultimate Doors tribute. Tickets are online at lyrictheater.com. It's a nice venue, great acoustics, really nice bar. Check that out. All weekend long, Oak Lawn is having their Fall Fest. If you've been driving up and down 95th Street over the last couple of weeks, you already knew it was coming. There's been signs everywhere. If you don't need to go through Oak Lawn and you're not going to Fall Fest, I'd stay off of 95th. If you are going, American Pie is playing in the center of the festival with hits from Mumford & Sons, Nathaniel Rateliff, Zach Brown, and more. They will be on at 10 p.m. on Friday night. And for your weekend, on the 9th Saturday and the 10th Sunday, 2 days of Oktoberfest at Hailstorm Brewing. Keep the stein, keep the boot, special food menu. It is really the kickoff to all the Oktoberfest going on the South Side. Live music at both events. Get your ziggy zaggy ready. Oi, oi, oi. Our final stop here on Southside Pod is in Blue Island at Blue Island Beer Company. But we are not there to just drink beer, although we will talk about one they have on tap. We're there for a cannabis event that's happening each and every month. You will be able to tell that I know nothing about this, but I was along for the ride. The interview brought to you by SidSauce.net. Hot peppers grown on the South Side, bottled on the South Side, amazing hot sauces delivered to your door. See everything they have to offer at SidSauce.net. All they were missing was hot sauce at this event. Let's check it out. I'm at Blue Island Beer Company, and I have Al. You've met Al before. He doesn't even have a microphone. He's just having a good time. And then I got Briggs here, and Briggs is running things. And I want people to understand this. Like, I'm going to say this right off the bat. Maybe once or twice in my whole life. Like, that's about it. Okay. And I'm a square, and I'm sorry. But I want to know about your scene. I want to understand your scene. I want to understand why you're in Blue Island tonight. So take me into what this is. Because, you know, for me, I grew up in a cop family. I grew up in my dad was like, stay away from the ganja. Don't go anywhere near it. When I did it, I was like a rebel.
Sure.
Tell me what this is about.
So I'm glad to be here with Alan, Blue Island Beer Company. He gave up his shop for us to be able to throw a unique experience on the South Side.
Right.
And that is bringing cannabis culture together. We have 7 vendors here, and they all really specifically adhere to a certain part of the industry. So there's no overlapping, and you get to see unique experiences from what we had outside.
What was outside?
Rips.
What was outside?
Pong rips.
Yeah?
I think that's what it was. Yeah. Lots of those. And then, of
course... Is all this legal now?
It's recreationally
Like
and
as
medically
somebody
legal in Illinois.
Okay, because as somebody who didn't do a lot of this, I just wonder, is it legal?
So-
and I don't care if it's
No,
not legal.
it is.
I'll turn the other way.
To you?
I will tell the 5-0 to look down the other street, but I just want to know, like, bong hits are cool now.
Bong hits are normalized now.
Really?
They're normalized.
Okay, because I remember my first bong hit.
Your face will melt off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So it's just come along to where, you know, the cannabis itself has become so much more powerful, potent, and so much more diversified with all the different terpenes that are involved. Now, where I come in is I try to play on that because my cones, I'm just an accessories guy. The rose, the lotus, goji berry, cocoa, sage cones, my palm leaves. They all provide a unique experience made from the plant itself. Hell, the goji berry is made out of the skin of the fruit. You can eat that and get nutrients out of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're trying to keep it all natural. Everything's hand-rolled, handmade. So, we're really trying to bring it back to the roots, just like this show. Vendor fee, $0. Admittance fee, $0. It's just bringing people in to enjoy all this unique innovation that's happening in this industry. Every other industry, they're kind of matured. This one hasn't even started yet. We're still in batting practice, warming up for the game. That's where we're at. And it's fun.
So let me ask you a question as somebody who doesn't smoke weed. Like, again, somebody who a couple of times in his life and then never did it again.
Sure.
And I think about it from time to time. I'm like, maybe I want to get into that. But, you know, I like bourbon. I like beer. I'm like, do I need to add something else? I'm not sure. Are there really any differences? Or are these guys just making it up?
This guy.
Because that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh,
Hey.
it's the red flower from Death Valley, and I'm like, it's probably the same weed you get in West Virginia. Like, I
Guys,
don't get it. So explain that to me.
Really, at the end of the day, weed is weed. It will get you high.
Right.
It will. That's the whole point. Now, there's some weeds that will couch lock you, which is an indica.
What is that?
It's an indica. That's the name of a sedative cannabis strain. Then you have sativa. That's the uppity. It's more of a heady high. Be more creative. You can kind of last through the parties.
It'll
that type of
help
thing.
you finish your basement.
That
Okay.
too. Yes, you'll actually want to finish it instead of like looking at it and then worrying about it.
I mean, not every measurement is going to be correct, but at least like I finished it. Yeah, okay.
There will be walls
Right,
somewhere.
Right, okay.
There's no 7/8 happening.
Right, okay.
There's two main separate sections of effect, indica and sativa.
Okay.
Okay. But with modern technology and the innovation of all these different brand new strains that are coming out, it's not even about indica and sativa anymore. It's about the terpene profiles. We're getting deep there, but in essence, it's the flavor and the effect that it has on you. There's so many different variations of that. You got to go through a bunch to be like, this is the one. But once you find it, man, you're much more productive, you're calmer, you're less nervous, you're more confident. It's a pretty special little match.
All right, so what kind of weed is Woody Harrelson turning into shirts? That's what I want to know.
Absolutely no idea, because these dudes are growing some wild shit and giving
Okay.
it wild names.
right.
Like, you would think like Jack Hair or Durban Poison or, Mimosa.
You're making all these names up.
No, they're actually the main strains, but now they're like Dark Horse Matter and like Death Star. And
Death Star?
I might have
Death
made
Star,
that
really?
up. Might have
You're
made
not-
that
you're
up.
not making
But
that
that's
up.
how wild it is. That's how wild the names are getting with these different strains.
Okay.
It's
All right.
fun.
All right, before we get into more about weed and the names you keep coming up with, can you
Fact check me, please.
Can you give this gentleman here the mic for like 2 seconds? I just want him to tell everybody what beer we're drinking.
Oh, I'm
what,
in the
what are we
shot.
having here at Blue Island Beer Company?
You
this
know
is
what?
Alan Cromwell.
We're doing
he
this-
runs the place, and he lets these guys who love weed come into his place. What, once a week?
Once a month.
Once a month.
First Wednesday of the month. Our friend Brad and Briggs from Spliff Society.
You and the tornado alarms go off once a month on the.
At 10 a.m., yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Think about the paranoia that weed gives you, and then the sirens go off, and everybody thinks they're being nuked.
Hey, at least I'm consistent.
Okay.
And with that, we're going to drink the OG Five Bridges tonight.
Five Bridges, that's your
Thank you,
your
everybody.
OG beer named after. Are there 5 bridges in Blue Island? Is that
There's
what
a
that is?
particular Five Bridges train crossing. The bridges right over here on Broadway in Blue Island.
Right.
Just west of the brewery.
All right, I'm going to talk to the pothead some more. Is that okay?
No. Talk to me. I'll tell you about the pothead.
I actually don't smoke all that much.
You don't smoke much, really?
No. No.
So let me get this straight. You have a shirt that says Spliff Society.
Yeah.
You got a couple of girls back here.
Yep, they're
selling
working
your
hard.
stuff.
Yep.
Young ladies.
I would imagine what you're selling. They look like cigars, but there's marijuana in all those cigars, right?
Incorrect.
No.
It's just the cones. So we have cones, and in the cannabis world, that is a paper that's already been rolled for you with a tip, and you pack your herb in it, right? We have those types of form, but we do it with natural leaves, and we do it with natural rose petals and that type of thing. So,
how do you know it's natural? I mean, I'm not giving you a hard time,
No,
but I'm just
no.
curious. I mean, like, I go get milk, and I'm looking at it going, is this organic, or does it have a hormone that's going to make my kid look like he's 42 when he's 14?
I love that.
So, I mean, like, so how do you know that it's actually natural? Because you would think there's a lot of crazy people doing a lot of crazy things out there, and they're trying to pass it off and make money.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
And that is a big problem in the cannabis industry itself. People who are selling cannabis, right? It's very strict labeling from, the government. There's regulations, real strict stuff going on with those guys. And if they mislabel something, they can go out of business. So it's real tight. Now, with my product, again, not cannabis, it's just, the plant material that we're making cones out of. We have a Ministry of Agriculture in India. That's where all of our products are made, because they're generations of artisans who've been rolling these things. They're awesome at it. Here in America, can't find one that can put a rose cone together. So we worked with the Ministry of Agriculture. They send us the full report of any contaminants that are in the flower petals or the plant matter itself. Then, of course, that gets certified. We do a QC on the internal, and everything is washed down with purified water. And then they get to the rolling process, which is literally it's a several-day process that allows things to dry and create what the end product is. And at that point, it's another certification. Before it leaves the country, our customs has to review it and make sure it's all kosher. Once it gets here, we do a final QC, mainly on looks. I don't have all the stuff up front, right?
I'm already impressed, let's be honest. I feel like if I get like some ground round at the Jewel, it hasn't been checked as much.
Well, the thing is, it's quality over quantity.
Right.
So many people are there's products out there that are not worthy to be on shelves, and people still buy them. So why not offer a premium product that really does enhance your experience and fill all the smoke shops with our stuff?
What would you say to somebody who walked into something like this and they're like, I never did this, I'm curious?
Honestly, this is the good weed is all one hit or quitter. One hit, put it down, give it 20 minutes, see how you feel.
Oh, I remember the first time I did, I just kept doing it like nothing's happening.
Well,
then I was really high. Like I woke up underneath a urinal in some strange place. I didn't know where I was. Because I kept going, oh, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening.
Yeah. And that's crazy. That's usually what happens to me with shrooms, but that's a whole nother story. So yeah, when you're starting out, you just take it easy. It's just so powerful now. And then be at home, be in a comfortable spot, have somebody with you, watch a movie, cook. Maybe not cook your first time.
Are there movies, things that you do when high that are different? Have you watched a movie and said, this movie was funnier when I was high? What movie?
Guardians of the Galaxy. The original face melted off. So we both smoked like 3 rose cones,
like,
my
this
wife
is
and I.
crazy.
Well, right.
I am Groot, and you understood what he was saying.
It was out of control.
Right.
Yes. See you, Danny.
Here's the thing. I've met angry drunks. I've never met somebody who's angry high on weed.
Now thank you. This is a point that needs to be understood and explored
I've never
fully.
seen it. I'm like, on the other hand, I've always felt like I could handle alcohol better than weed. Like I always felt like, oh, I know where my limit is. Why is it that people on weed are never angry?
You're cool. Everything's cool. Like there's no anger. Now you go to a bar, Friday night, I'm sure, Alan, you deal with this from time to time. Dudes get drunk, they get rowdy, all of a sudden you're kicking people out, calling cops. In every event that I've been to, and we're here in Chicago, right? And they're happening every week. There has never been an incident other than somebody whose blood sugar was low and they had to call an ambulance to help them. But that wasn't from the weed, right?
Right, exactly.
But it's just, everybody can have an open conversation, get to know people better. It really does break down barriers. look at the demographics that we've had at the show tonight. Everybody from 21 to 70, every nationality and race. It's
Maybe
fantastic. 75?
What movie did you enjoy more when you were high?
Antiques Roadshow on PBS.
Wow.
My
Wow.
favorite one. My wife and I like
It's
to
incredible.
medicate at home. Snuggle up with the warm dog and
Before I let you guys go, one more question. Give me the one thing that when you're high that makes you giggle hysterically.
The Simpsons.
Antonio Banderas.
Wow. Rainbow Road level Mario Kart. Can't stop laughing. You're just on a rainbow. And it's crazy. Like, right? Yeah. So if somebody wants to catch up with the Spliff Society, how do they do that?
So we have our website, spliffsociety.org. Our IG is The Real Spliff Society. And guys, we're all over Chicagoland. We're going to be expanded out to extra states. We look forward to you trying the product. Thanks.
All right. And all this stuff is legal now, right?
So in Illinois, it is.
Okay. I don't need a medical card.
Nope. You can
just
walk
do this.
in.
And again,
What, you have an Oktoberfest coming soon?
we have something special for you in October.
Is it an Oktoberfest?
We have something special for you in October.
I'm so disappointed in you, but I look forward to what you have for me.
We have something special in October.
It's the Southside! It's the Southside! It's the Southside Pod! Thanks for listening! Thanks for tuning in to the Southside Pod! Y'all come back now, you hear?